Gotta get my hair cut.
Hi, everybody.
Right,
Recruiting. This guy always talks when I'm introducing the show. Usually, before I say a word, he's talking. Okay. But anyway, it's the Recruiting the Animals show. It's December 7th, 2022. And the guy who loves to interrupt me, I love to have him here. MarioTheRecruiter.com. Yeah. Okay. Also, whom you can't see, he said he becomes introverted or maybe shy in the wintertime is Iwan Gulenko. He is the creator of his own applicant tracking system. He's a recruiter, so it's created by a recruiter's hands. It's called Klang, KLANG.SO. Anyway, he's here. Go check it out. Okay, it's worth taking a look at. Okay, I know there's a million of them, but this guy is a hands-on recruiter. Okay. And you know what? Ivan said something a few months ago that I realized was true. This isn't about recruiting necessarily, but I notice it all the time. He said, look, sometimes you're going to make purchases and you have buyer's remorse. You say, why did I buy that? Okay. And then later on, you realize that it was a worthwhile purchase or something came in useful. Didn't you say that, Ivan?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember.
He doesn't remember.
Do you
I
Twitter
remember.
or where?
Well, that becomes true. There's
Just
lots
dig
of
it
times.
out.
Sometimes bad things happen that turn out to be worthwhile in the long run. So
True.
don't jump to conclusions. I'm not saying if you lose your arm in a traffic accident, that's going to be a good thing. No, I don't think so. Okay. But anyway, okay. So let's get to the show. I won't do, okay. You know what? Here's something I saw that I found surprising. This French recruiter on another recruiting group, he said, we're a French agency and we're doing great business here in Europe, but I've been living in the US and I've got to, I was living in the US and I've got to admit, I miss the warm, chatty American people. I thought they hate Americans. He wants to start up a branch in the United States. Zenny, you guys are both not from North America. Do you find the Americans are different from other people, more friendly or anything like that?
They're way more direct.
What does that mean?
I mean, it's very simple. They don't beat around the bush. Okay. If they're interested in moving forward, they tell us, yeah, we're interested. If not, no. And you cannot, try to convince them not to do something, like to take up a job or to listen to a call if they're not interested. Plus, they're pretty chatty. I like Americans.
Okay.
Easy to talk with.
Give me an example of somewhere else where they're not like that.
India.
Well, what happens? It's different.
It's different in the sense that you can't believe a word they say, especially with candidates.
Okay, that's different than saying they still might be chatty, though.
I mean, it depends on the person. See, in the Indian market, okay, people are not that chatty. All right, they don't have the nature of chatting a lot with people on the phone, unless you know them personally.
Okay.
Americans are a bit more open-minded and a bit more. You can talk with them.
Ivan, do you have anything to say? You've recruited the odd time in the United States, haven't you? Has he gone already? Okay.
I have no clue.
Okay. Well, I'll move on. I don't know. I'm in Canada. Okay.
Even Canadians are pretty nice.
I think in the southern United States, when they might be the secretaries of the gatekeepers might be a little more friendly than some other places. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they are more. No, they are basically polite at least. I mean, I do cold calling, right? I'll be calling secretaries all the time. And to get past them, I have to use all sorts of tricks. Okay. And they're pretty polite. I can't, at least they're like, I'm sorry, I can't put you through. All right. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. At least better than get lost.
Oh, do people say get lost anywhere?
Why not? So. Why not? I called a person a few days back. He just picked up the phone. He listened. I asked him, would you give me 30 seconds to talk? He said, I have no time. I just wanted to ask him, why the hell do you pick up the phone then, you moron?
Okay.
But I thought, okay, he's an old guy.
Didn't you just tell Ivan? Just tell you don't use that word.
Yeah. They're gonna come after me anyway. What's gonna change?
Well, they'll come after me. Okay.
I'm sorry, idiot. Then I rephrase it, idiot.
Yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah. Okay. What about this? Can you succeed as a recruiter if you talk in a monotone? Neither of us talk in monotones. Ivan's a little closer. Ivan, you're still not here, eh? He's not here. Okay,
You'll probably be the most
he
boring
showed up
recruiter on
long
the
enough that
problem.
I did the ad for his product. Okay, what about the monotone?
You'll be the most boring recruiter on the planet. No one will
So
want to
what?
talk to you.
I don't think it
I mean,
makes a
see,
difference.
people, it does. Imagine this. Hi, is this Adam? Adam, I'm calling you for a
Sounds
job
pretty good.
opportunity.
There's
Would
nothing
you be
wrong with that.
interested in this role based out of this and this and this and dash dash dash? Would you give me 30 seconds to talk a little bit more about the opportunity? You know how dull it sounds?
Yeah, it sounds like you've got some kind of chat app or something.
Yeah, exactly. See, look at this way. Hey, Adam, how are you doing? You got 30 seconds to talk about an opportunity I represent for? Okay, let's talk. It has much more flair, much more interest. You're actually talking with the candidate. I mean, I use this with candidates. With prospective clients, I don't go, how are you doing? Who the hell cares? With the candidate, at least I want to know how they're doing.
I got to admit, your chatty voice sounded better, but I don't think it makes a difference in the end. I have a friend who he used to work in a big recruiting office, and he's a fabulous recruiter. But he said, you see her name was Barb. I won't mention her last name. She was a cold fish. Okay. Her person, he said she was the most successful recruiter in the office.
Was she hot?
No. No. In fact, she was on the far side. I hate to say it. Okay. She was not young either. Okay. She was on the far side of middle age. Okay.
So she has no charm. Animal, there are always exceptions to the rule.
Well, how do you know that's an exception? Okay.
She could be an exception because I've seen most of the best recruiters we have on here. Okay. I'm not a great recruiter. I'm just a normal recruiter. Okay. But most of the best guys who build the most, they are pretty chatty folks.
Yeah.
Tell me one guy who has come on here who's not a chatty person. Or doesn't know to change their tone.
Ivan's not a chatty person, and I think he's pretty successful.
He's a pretty successful recruiter, but he also is see, you need to understand their culture is more cut and right in how they talk. Europeans are generally not very chatty.
Okay, he's in Switzerland for the German population.
He's under the European Union, EU.
Now, he's not only recruiting in Switzerland in the German-speaking community.
Right, that's even worse. Germans are most cut and right.
Okay, yeah, he's no hold bar. He's my friend, okay? But okay, I'm not responsible for what he says.
You're not responsible for what I say. Okay, I speak out of free speech. Okay. You can't censor me like Andrew Tate. I am nowhere to be censored.
What about this? A candidate complained. She said she went to a company that brags about their inclusiveness. Okay, I know I'm in a bad territory with you here. Anyway, she said she's got a disability that makes it so she can't sit for a really long time. The interview was 4 hours long, planned 4 hours. She said, I'd like to break it up into 2 hours and 2 hours, and they refused. She thought that was outrageous. I think she's probably right. What do you think?
She's 100% right. That's a moronic company you don't want to work for.
Okay. And yet they brag about their inclusiveness.
They're about as inclusive as I'm exclusive. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. In fact, for 4 hours, would it be wrong for a person to say, let's say they're in a video interview like this, to say, look, I got to go to the washroom for an hour or two. I got to go to the washroom. Okay.
Imagine they're in the middle of a serious discussion. They can say, hey, I got to pee.
Yeah, why not? Okay.
I mean, see, this is a typical example of company just talking the talk, but not walking the walk. She actually escaped from a problem, because if she had a problem with sitting down, okay, they could, if they're really an inclusive company, they can include a standing desk.
Okay.
Okay, if they're really inclusive. They're not. Yeah. Those are not companies you want to work with.
She said she could sit, just not for these, 4 hours is a long time. Okay.
That's obviously, man, even I can't sit for 4 hours.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're a young, healthy fellow. Okay.
Yeah, but if we can't sit for 4 hours, how the hell can you expect her to sit on the hot seat?
Whatever her back problem is, or whatever it might be.
It's not decent.
Next question. Okay. This sounds good, but I don't know what it means. He says, relationships are everything. Having 3 intentional networking conversations a week for a year will change your life. First of all, what's an intentional networking conversation? What do you think? What do you think he means by that? Are you calling your old candidates or your people you've spoken to before and just checking up with them? Or are you calling new people and just introducing yourself?
Even I'm confused.
He's a recruiter. I got to say, the guy who wrote this on Twitter he's a recruiter. He's not only a recruiter, he's a popular recruiter. Lots of people like him. Okay.
But he has a point. That's 152 weeks into 3 is like 156 conversations. At least 40 will pan out in a favorable
Say 150. Give him some time off.
Yeah.
All the way
Yo,
from
Stephen.
Scotland. Yeah,
Hey,
Stephen O'Donnell. Nice to see you.
Nice to be seen.
What's
It's
your
a long time.
What's your URL?
Not Pocket Recruiter. I'm not Pocket Recruiter anymore. tatech.org.
tatech.org. Why the
That's it.
org? Do you consider yourself an educational institution?
It's an organization. It's a membership club for technology companies and recruitment.
But I thought you were teaching companies the last time we spoke how to do video presentations.
Well, that was a bit of a pivot during the pandemic.
So what are you doing now? Anything?
So, well, the TA Tech is a membership organization for technology companies and job boards all over the world. Mostly North America, maybe
Okay.
2/3.
I don't understand everybody, but go to tatech.org. Okay.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him here for a long time. However, I posted a video last week that you were in, and you know what? It was promoting Michael G. Cox and Richard Rosen for the contest for Forbes magazine. Go to coldcallrecruiter.com. You can register, and then they'll send you an invitation to come back and vote for Rich and Mike. Okay. Rich is cornerstonesearch.com. You have to vote for them by their companies. And Michael G. Cox is ZagWorks. ZAG-WORX. Okay. Stephen, wouldn't you agree with me that that's a ridiculous name? He's a smart guy. If you go to thesalesrecruiter.com, it'll take you to his LinkedIn. But would you agree with me? It's such a bizarre name. I mean, what's the point? Am I right
learned
about
a long
that?
time ago that it was safest to always agree with you.
Okay.
But ZagWorks does sound a bit off the
The
wall.
odd spelling and stuff like that. Yeah, I need people to agree with me about this domain name thing because I believe it's important. Okay.
I like company names and domain names that say what they are.
Give me an example.
Well,
Sweet
TA Tech.
Popsicle Company.
So TA Tech is talent acquisition technology.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What did you? So the question we're asking before we move on, Steve. Okay. And I don't think I gave Mario a chance to answer. So you can come. This guy said if you have 3 intentional networking calls, conversations a week for a year, it's going to change your life. Does that mean anything to you? He's a recruiter. Does that mean anything?
Let me give you an example. And it's an old story. I always end up telling stories from way back. When I was 18, I was selling telesales. I was selling advertising in the local police in-house magazine called The Guardian. Anyway, I was selling this and I'd get bored through the week. So what I did was I got the code for New York, 001212, added on some random numbers, and I would canvass for friends in New York just to while away the time. I made friends over that call when I was 18 that I still have today.
Hold on, you call people you didn't know out of the blue and say, "Hi, my name's Stephen. You're in Glasgow, right?"
I literally said, "My name's Stephen. I'm in my office in Glasgow. I'm a bit bored. I thought I'd give you a call. How are you doing?" And most people would hang up. Some people stayed on the call. They were curious, and some of them are still friends of mine today. I was in New York last month, and I met up with a couple of them.
Really? Okay, Mario, let's follow up with him on this. So let's switch this to recruiting. Let's switch this to recruiting first contacts, because Mario was saying he called a guy and the guy said, he said to the guy, "Just give me 30 seconds of your time." He said, "I don't have 30 seconds for you." So Mario said, "What do you even pick up the phone for if you don't have 30 seconds? What would you recommend as an initial contact to a stranger you're recruiting them?
To me, it's a stranger.
Yeah, you're recruiting somebody, and you get on the phone with them, or maybe you don't recommend the phone anymore. But what's your first contact? Well, if you were on the phone, what would your first words to this person? They say hello.
Okay, so first of all, just to by way of context, if you phone someone and tell them why you're phoning them, then that's what's in it for you. That's not what's in it for them. So you need to lead with something that's going to catch their attention. And in order to do that, you should have done a bit of homework on them. So it might be you've read their LinkedIn, it might be you've seen their CV or the resume, but you need to come in with something that's of interest to them. So I've got some information about your competitors, or I've got information on anything else that's to do with your industry sector. So if you've got something that's going to catch their attention in the first place, then that's what's in it for them. That's why they would go, okay, tell me more.
You know what? I could tell that from the way he did this thing when he was 18, this is a different person, okay?
Yeah.
The kind of person, he's out in the stratosphere. He'll call strangers in another country and chat to them, and he doesn't care if they think he's a weirdo or hang up on him, okay? But yet, when you're calling these recruiters or candidates and you're saying, hey, I've got something you want to know, I don't know.
I get it. So my inclination when someone phones me is either I want to hang up straight away or I want to mess around with the person on the other line. Now, I know that not everyone is the same as me. I know that people are different, and most people are going, oh, you're trying to sell something. And as soon as you say, I'm not trying to sell something, straight away they know you're trying to sell something. So you can't do that. And if you're contacting people who are regularly being contacting Canvas for jobs, then they'll have heard the script on a regular basis. So you got to have something that's personal to them. And it might be, Recruit an Animal. I listened to your show last week. I saw your show last week. Mario was fantastic, blah, blah, blah. Can you tell me more about the people that come on your show? So if you ask the person about that, rather than go in with a pitch, then that might be it. You might be asking for advice. You might be asking for advice. Can I ask a question about the company that you work for or used to work for, or someone that was a colleague? Or it might be that you're looking for a reference. Can I have a reference on a candidate? And it might be totally made up. It might be any number of things, but you're looking for them to, in a polite way, give you something for nothing.
Okay, so this would be as an entree for those 3 intentional networking calls. That doesn't sound like an introduction to a recruiting call when you're actually wanting to recruit somebody. It seems like deceptive. And these guys trying to play a bait and switch with me. First he asks for a referral, and then the real conversation comes in. I don't know that.
Well, you know, as a recruiter, when you speak with a candidate that turns out not to be ideal for the job you're speaking about, and maybe you knew that already, but you want to ask them about somebody else, or where else are you applying to right now? If you do it badly, and it's quite common, then they'll know that was the reason for the call in the first place, and you just look like a schmuck. You're looking to squeeze them for information, and you weren't interested in them at all. It's tricky to do, and you need to be quite diplomatic about doing it.
You sound like Sean Connery today. Go ahead, Mario.
Actually, Stephen, when you call, before we call any candidates, we do our best to vet if they're a fit for the role. So, most of the time we are very direct when we talk to them. I said, hey, I'm calling with regards to an opportunity. You want to hear about it or not? That's the best way to go about it, as per my understanding. I believe in radical honesty on the call, without going for anything here and there. Just, would you be interested in hearing more about the opportunity? That seems to work for us, but
I find with radical honesty, in fact, it can be quite disarming if someone says, look, I'm phoning you about a job. I think you'd be interested in this. Let me tell you more.
I got to tell you, sometimes those guys who tell you to hypnotize your potential candidates.
Oh God, they're full of shit.
No, but he did that to me. Just this idea that he was 18 years old calling people in New York from Scotland. My mind just goes into another stratosphere.
Stephen, can I ask you a question?
Believe it, okay?
Can I ask you a question, Stephen? How do you get into recruiting?
How did I get into recruiting?
Yeah.
I went and registered with a recruitment agency. I was a sales guy selling fax machines.
Yeah, you got it. He was a sales guy. He must have been a sales guy from the get-go.
Well,
naturally born salesman.
Well, no, hold on. I sold advertising in magazines for about 18 months. I then sold cable TV to people in their homes.
Can I ask you a question?
How do you sell? I sold fax machines.
So can I ask you a question? How do you sell initially? On the phone, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
No,
he's
he
used to
means
talking on the
today,
phone.
but lots of people say
No. I'm talking
today's no
initially when he
good. The phone
started.
is no good.
Not
Oh,
today,
when he
not today.
start. Oh,
I'm
when he
talking when he
started.
started.
Okay.
See,
Yeah.
they have a saying, right? We are the sum of all our experiences and all our thought processes, everything. Okay. So
Yeah.
when he started at 18, he could have, I totally agree. I can see that he could have easily been calling people and making friends on the phone.
Yeah. Don't get me
and
wrong.
think that-
In terms of messing around phoning, we would also phone sex lines in New York as well, because it was on the company's phone lines, so they would do that as well.
He's got a good sense of humor too. What else?
What about today? Some people say I never phone people. It's all either text or email for first contact. Do you have any preference?
So I was called this morning out of the blue, and I almost jumped out of my skin because it never happens, and it was very welcome. It was a fella called Laurie Coop, who runs a company called Aimwell in Belgium, and he just called out of the blue, which was great, and it was in between other calls that had been scheduled. I love a call out of the blue. I phone people out of the blue all the time because, frankly, I'm trying to get them off guard.
Okay. So so he's endorsing the phone. Okay. Everybody.
Hey, even I endorse the phone. I mean, without the phone, we can't do anything. It took me so long to get over my fear of cold calling. I have finally got rid of that fear.
How?
And today I call nonstop.
How did you get over it? How did you get over it?
I banged through it.
Really?
Yeah, I am not joking. Listening, when I started the show, I came on initially. I had the fear of cold calling, not candidates, prospective clients. Okay, and that's why I was looking for other business development services. Okay, though I was bringing in my own business, it was mostly through email. Now I'm smashing the phone lines all the time.
Okay, let me hi, foodindustryrecruiter.com.
Ernie,
welcome back. Okay, the purple Barney. Okay, but let me ask Steve. I'm gonna sort of make Steve the quasi guest because we haven't seen him for a long time, and he is a different sort of person. Everyone can tell. If you can't tell, there's something wrong with you. Okay, okay, but Richie Rosen always tells us, Steve, that calling clients for business development is the exact same as calling people you want to recruit, candidates. So Mario just said it's different. He felt it was different. Okay, so I told him I want to ask him a question. He disappears. Okay, I'll ask Ernie. Are you in agreement, Ernie, with Rich that they're both the same thing?
That it foot's both the same thing.
What happened to your hair?
I had a hat on and they just came in.
Okay,
it's cold over there.
Don't worry about that. No one's going to see you on this show. What about what he just said? He wasn't afraid. That's what it sounds like. He wasn't afraid to cold call candidates, but he was afraid to cold call businesses looking for business. What do you say, Rich? Is it the same thing?
I think it's the same thing.
Not Rich, I mean Ernie, sorry.
Yeah, calling's calling, but business development can be tough.
Yeah.
That's what gets people nervous.
That's what Rick says. He says people are afraid. He says, because when you call the candidate, you're offering something. When you're calling the business, you want something. Is that what scares you?
Exactly. That is the problem.
It's wanting something, but not knowing how to bring it up, not knowing how to work it in. Because you feel like you're bothering them.
No, I don't feel like I'm bothering. I have no kindness.
Well, but I mean, people think that I think usually there's a fear because they're calling up. They feel like this VP is like really important or this guy's really important. But in reality, the higher up you call, the easier it is.
I agree with you. I called a VP of a 1,500 employee company. That's huge in the DoD space. Okay. No, 11,500, not 1,500. My mistakes. I didn't know he was so big, and he was the most chilled out guy on the planet. I mean, I read the background information. I was like, dude, you're a moron for calling this guy. I'm sorry, you're an idiot for calling this guy.
Well, I look back at the people that I have that I keep contact with, my quote friends that I've never seen, that I've known for a long time. Most of them are VPs and presidents.
But you were a VP yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just funny that they are at that level. And then when I called them and I said, okay, what do you got? And we're talking. It's harder to get the people under them.
Okay, but hold on a second. There was the issue. You said you don't want to be direct, but you say you can call business development people now, Mario, and you also said you're a very direct guy. So are you direct on your business?
I'm definitely direct on my business development.
Tell us how you do what your business development.
Okay, hey, this is hey, is that Ernie?
Huh?
Ernie, you're gonna hate me. Can I have 30 seconds of your time? This is a sales call.
Sure.
You want to hang up now?
No, keep talking.
Cool. So thank you for your time. So let's start this conversation. And I start blaring out my pitch.
Now let's hear it.
Then I would rather not talk about my pitch online.
Okay.
You got it.
But why do you say it's a sales call instead of I'm a headhunter?
It's a sales call. I'm trying to sell our recruiting services.
Yeah, but the sales, it's just vague. I mean, you might be wanting to sell him.
I normally word it as a recruiting sales call. Okay. So I know
That's
it's a
it.
recruiting sales
That
call.
makes sense to me. Okay.
What do you think very simple, direct.
Ernie, we're honest here. I think he's a great speaker. Okay, a great communicator. I want to know what you think. Do you think that was a little too direct? Because you said
not really. You're really trying to get to the point with him, and trying, and the biggest thing to ask him, like, and if they pick up the phone, you're not interrupting them. The question then becomes, can you keep them on the phone?
Exactly.
And that's where the art comes in.
Is he making a mistake, do you think, by saying I need 30 seconds? I think that's a good thing to say, but you
No, actually, let me rephrase that. I say, would you let me have 30 seconds? Or you want to hang up now? You give me 30 seconds and you can slam the phone down on me.
And
that induces a laugh.
There's that part where people say, is this a good time to talk to you? Do you have 30 seconds? But then the other part of it is to make it in such a way that this is only going to take 30 seconds. Let me tell you why I'm calling.
See, that's why I say you can just give me 30 seconds and then you can slam the phone down on me.
Yeah.
Everyone laughs for that line. Yo, Rich, the man who taught cold calling to us.
Yeah.
What's up?
Well, Rich, I was quoting you left and right here because Mario said that he when he first came, he was comfortable making cold calls to people he wanted to recruit, but not for business development. I remember now he told us about that before, and you told us why people are afraid to they want something. One you're giving, one you're asking, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you always say there's no difference between one or the other. Am I right about that?
Yeah. It's all in your mind.
Okay. Did you hear his call? Do your initial opening call for Rich. And
hey,
I want Rich to critique it.
Okay, so let me start. Is that Rich?
Hey.
Rich, this is going to take 30 seconds. Would you want to, this is a recruiting sales call. You want to hang up now or give me 30 seconds?
You don't sound the same. Come on, Rich.
Okay, it happens. It takes time.
Rich is big on your tone. Rich says, don't sound like you don't give a shit about me. Have some energy, okay? You don't have it now.
Would you? I asked for 30 seconds. You didn't even give me 10.
Go ahead. Start again.
Okay. Is that
Take
Rich?
it from the top.
It is.
Rich, you're going to hate me. This is a sales call. Would you want to give me 30 seconds or you can slam the phone down on me?
Sure. I'll give you 30 seconds.
All right. So most of the leaders we speak to in this space, blah, 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 blah. That's my pitch.
That's his. What I wanted you to his opening thing. What he didn't do it. He did it well before. He didn't do it that great this time. What do you think?
Rich is the god of recruiting. I'm a bit nervous.
What do you think?
He's intimidated.
If you listen to like all the guys, like there's a great podcast. I think I mentioned to you, like 30 Minutes to President's Club, which is like where Mario's is directly at him. That's all these like big, account, sales, business development guys.
What's it called again? What's it called?
30 MPC.
30 MPC. That.com.
President's Club. Yeah. Great podcast. No offense to this, webinar, webcast. That is the best podcast for sales. Literally Mario's is like dead on for what they kind of tell you to do.
It's available on Spotify, is it not too?
Yeah. I listen to it like every morning at the gym. It's great.
I'm going to compliment Rich. I posted, we already did your ad for the contest. Okay. Okay. Even with you not here, but I posted last year's video. I don't know if you watched it for, I said it was Michael G. Cox's birthday, give him a free gift. And so I posted the pitch that I did last year on the show for you and him. And you didn't have that beautiful map as your decoration before. It was just a blank wall. I mean,
the map, it's all the places we've been and then where you want to go, your favorite. It's like, actually, it's more than just a map.
He's just gone all out on the decoration of his office. So I just want everyone.
Big spender
to know. Okay, so there you go. Richie Rich, super rich. Okay. And we had Stephen O'Donnell here. I said he's going to be the guest now since we don't, and he hung up. He left.
Animal, I think he did a Batman.
Well, whatever. Okay, I'm going to ask Rich and Ernie the question I asked Mario before. Can you talk in a monotone and be a very successful recruiter? Mario said no. I said yes, because I've heard of someone who was a great recruiter who was a cold fish. Rich, you first. I know Rich says one of the keys to success is putting oomph and energy into your call.
Listen, if you're calling actuaries, you can't sound like you're, Bozo the Clown. You can't be Mr. Energetic, but you got to be, a little monotone. Can you be successful? Yes. Would I want to do it that way? Hell no.
Hold on. Are you implying that you sound like Bozo the Clown when you call your sales reps?
Sometimes I do, but listen, my pitches aren't that smooth. I mean, it's just getting through it and getting people over the hurdle of saying sure. Like Mario's, it was like what's that? An interrupt. I forget the term.
Pattern interrupt.
A pattern interrupt. Okay.
There you go. I mean, so it makes you say, yeah, sure, of course. That's what makes it good. I don't deliver it so well, quite frankly. So I just kind of do it the old school way. And it works for me.
Baloney. Okay, Ernie, to you.
Well, you got to be yourself.
Bingo.
The only time you change that if you're, I guess, in the mortuary business.
How can Rich say bingo when he already told us a dozen times you got to put some energy in?
Well, you're right. I think you do, but you know what? There's a lot of ways that work.
But that's his personality. That's his personality.
No, he was prescribing it for everybody.
Rich,
okay,
as usual, the animal sees it in black and white.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference between knowing your personality and having energy in your voice.
And also, if you're gonna teach people, you say, yes, animal, you should be monotone. That would be the best way to sell.
You guys know the comedian Stephen Wright, the deadpan voice. Okay.
Steve.
Okay, we'll go to Stephen O'Donnell. Okay, Steve, can you
welcome back?
Welcome back? Yeah. Can you be a successful recruiter and have one of those monotone voices, or do you have to add a little oomph and energy deliberately? We got Rich talking out of both sides of his mouth. Okay, so I want to know, you make the deciding vote.
Well, you mentioned Stephen Wright, and Stephen Wright is just as successful a comedian with his deadpan voice as others who are really animated. And I think you can get different types of recruiters, different types of markets.
Nope, you can't say that. Apparently, Animal's going to yell at you now, right?
Yeah, and by the way, speaking of dead,
I think you're afraid of him.
Deadpan comedians. Has anyone seen Jimmy's car?
Let's listen to Stephen. Is he monotone?
You know what? That's a good question. He's kind of
hold on a second.
He's got that he's got that croony voice or whatever they call it.
Connery.
Like he's in a bar singing. Like,
he's got a James Bond voice, man.
He does have that James Bond. I pointed it out earlier.
The thing is to me, when I hear my voice back, it sounds really monotone. But when Americans hear my voice, they think it sounds, like a Sean Connery.
They hear the accent.
James Bond.
But the thing is, everyone here speaks like me. So, this is a regular Glasgow accent.
Okay, but you don't sound flamboyant or anything like that. Okay,
Stephen,
no.
Do you sound flamboyant? Stephen, when they ask you what's your name, do you say O'Donnell, Stephen O'Donnell's?
Yeah.
No, I say the name's O'Donnell, double O'Donnell.
Yeah. James O'Donnell, Stephen O'Donnell. Okay.
That's a good one.
Okay.
License to thrill.
Okay. You know what? Here's the thing. This professor wrote an article. I thought it was very good. And he said, these companies that are laying off people, it's a bad policy. They're going to lose money because they're laying people off. And they're just doing it because they're all copycats. Just like I've seen people say, oh, Elon Musk is laying people off. That's what we're going to do too. Nobody needs people. Can a recruiting firm read an article like that and call a company and say, you should be hiring people now. They're laying off their good people. You can hire them, and the salary you're going to pay them until the market picks up is a good investment. Otherwise, when the market picks up, you're going to be competing with these same companies again to hire those same people you laid off a few months ago. Can anybody have the guts to argue with a business? You call up, I want your 30 seconds. No, I'm not hiring anybody. You are making a mistake, sir, and I'm going to tell you why.
First of all, you don't say sir.
Adam, most of these companies that are laying off are hiring at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean,
because what happens is you lay off, and the people you don't want to lose walk out the door.
There you go.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I used to do. When companies were laying off, I would go to the factory gates, or I would go to the nearest pub, and I would buy a round of drinks and hoover up as many candidates as I could. So people who were being laid off.
Yeah, but did you have somewhere to put them? That's the question.
Those weren't VPs, right?
No, they were
I wouldn't
technical
always
guys.
have places to put
They
them.
weren't factory workers. They were technical guys.
Well, yeah, there'd be plastics engineers and project engineers and production managers.
Okay, but this is what the guy said. He said, did Meta overhire? Probably. But is that why they're laying people off? Of course not. Meta has plenty of money. These companies are all making money. They're doing it because other companies are doing it. He says layoffs do not cut costs. There's many instances of laid off employees being hired back as contractors, with companies paying the contracting firm and the recruiters. It's costing them more to keep the same company people there. Okay.
Excuse me, Animal.
I think the question, excuse me, Mario, the question is more, what effect does that have on the recruiters? When people hear the word layoff, everybody goes freaking out. Like someone yells fire, and everyone's saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to do next year? It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And people start freaking out. And that's kind of interesting. Also, the people that get laid off, the recruiters that get laid off, I just always ask myself, why don't they just start their own business? They have all the tools, they have all the things. Just go at it, keep doing what you're doing. But
how long did it take you to go off on your own?
How long did it take me?
20 years.
There you go. That's why people get nervous.
But he had a big job. He was a VP. He was a lawyer with a VP HR job. Okay, he wasn't just a recruiter.
But it's a decision to say, you know what? I have nothing now. I used to be a big dog. Now I ain't crap to nobody. My receptionist isn't even calling me back. The people that used to kiss your butt aren't even dealing with you anymore. So
some people just by nature are born employees. They'll never work for themselves.
Exactly.
And give them all the opportunities to do it, and they just won't. They won't take the risk.
Yeah, I mean, I hear these people say, I've been a recruiter and I don't have a job, and I've been looking for like 6 months. Well, while you're looking,
so
open up your own shop.
So I have a question to ask you, Ernie. Now, if they are such good recruiters, can they reverse the search, reverse their own styles of recruiting, and contact hiring managers for a job? No, they're not willing to do that. That means how the hell are they good recruiters?
Here's a segue.
Hey guys, you just take a list. Yeah, sorry.
This guy, no, don't be sorry. And it's nice that he defers to your age and seniority all the time. If it's you and him talking, Mario defers to Ernie. Okay, but anyway,
even to you, Animal, and to Rich and to Steven. You guys are older than me, and smarter than me.
You don't have to. Okay, you can talk right over me like everybody else.
That's the problem in today's generation.
Okay.
There's
No
respect.
Yeah. Okay. This guy said. He said, the reason you're scared of commission-only jobs is that you don't believe in your skills. If you were 100% confident in your skills, a no-cap performance role would be a match made in heaven for you.
Can I tell you why that's nonsense?
Why?
Commission-only jobs are asking you to invest in someone else's company. You're investing your time in someone else. There might be better commission for you, but they're getting you rent-free. Whether you fail or succeed. And if you wanted to be in business for yourself, then you're commission only.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. That's the context we're talking about, working for yourself. Okay,
you're working for someone else on commission only.
No, but what Ernie said is, if you're a recruiter who's laid off, stop crying and open your own firm and work on commission only, just like contingent recruiters do, or maybe for some kind of retainer. I don't know. What
between us guys, I expect most recruiters out there will have a bit of extracurricular recruiting going on. where
I
they're
don't
making
think so.
placements and getting fees under the table. I said,
Yeah, he might have a point.
I
so
don't.
when you're looking to leave, or you're being asked to leave, you've already got a passive income on the go, where you're making placements with the odd client once in a while that's going directly to your shadow business.
Here's
Okay.
here's a question for Rich. Okay, are you still awake, Rich?
Yeah, I'm just doing some work.
Okay, no,
multitasking
that's okay.
question.
I don't want to
Stop doing the
interrupt
work.
you.
Pay attention.
I don't want to interrupt him. But here's the thing: is do you make sure that your sales compensation plans are not hinky, tricky? Okay. And he says, the guy says, I worked with a CEO who deliberately created a 6-page compensation plan with 15 clauses that started, you will not be paid for, or in the case of you hit the ceiling. He says, some companies will add clauses to a contract that allow them to get out of paying full compensation to a sales rep who goes way over quota.
Yeah. So listen, the long-winded question. The end of the day is every company has a clause in there they can do something stupid, and you're not going to get around it. But there's ones that are the ones that have explicit, like if you close the deal on a Tuesday, you don't get paid, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I would never work on those searches if I find out about it.
How do you find out? That's a question.
Sometimes it's late into the process. I mean, you can only ask so many questions at the beginning. And you get to ask stuff along the way you go, you learn. And
I used to have a condition in my contract with recruiters that work for me that said, if for whatever reason circumstances conspire against you and you haven't earned at least 40% of the fees that you brought in this year, I will top it up to 40%.
You do the reverse.
Yeah. But Rich, why can't you just say, look, are there any caps on commission?
You ask that question, but they don't tell you. Like, I'll ask if there's a cap or things like that. But like to get all the intricate details of the benefits, of the comp plans, of the commission plans, I'll go through the different stages of commission, if there's a cap, things like that. But to get all the difference, like the nuances of how you hit there's so many hidden tricks to it. Like my clients are startups too. If you have a 6-page comp plan, there's something wrong. Literally, if you need a slide rule to figure out your comp plan, there's something wrong. If they can't just tell me it's a flat 10% or 15%, there's generally something wrong with the plan. It shouldn't be that difficult to figure out. I'm having this big fight with a client of mine now. I love that. It's a VP I've known for years. I love the guy, but his CEO is insane. And I'm like, dude, we lose one more candidate, I'm done. Because this is a waste of time because your plan sucks. And
Rich, I was going to ask you, in the food industry, I've talked to some people where they were in sales and they did really well. And then the following year comes and they're hit with, we're going to split your territory now.
Yep. Increase your quota, cut your territory, change your manager, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, and they split the territory and they're upset because they said, now my commission's all gone. I earned it. And they took it away. Does that happen with you guys, with your niche?
I mean, they don't do what you can't lose. You shouldn't lose your commission. Like in most states, if you close the deal and you leave or whatever, you can't, like, even if you left the company, if you close that deal, the contracts are signed, you're owed that money.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you're a lawyer, so but they should, a lot of companies get tricky and they don't call it commission. They'll call it a bonus. They'll call it a spiff or something, and you basically, that way they don't have to pay it if they don't want to.
Yeah, but these are situations where the person's still staying with the company.
Well, that's a dumb person.
And then they're splitting their territory.
Yeah, but the splits happen all the time.
Yeah.
Like as your company grows, you're going to get less territory, less accounts, and generally your quota goes up. So and then these companies wonder why people leave.
Okay, but let me ask a question. Why would anyone put a cap on commission when it's going to discourage a person from doing great work?
Because they're not sales-driven companies. They're engineer-driven companies. They're cheap. They're stupid, and they don't look at the bigger. They don't look at the big picture.
They're a finance-driven company, or they're owned by an investment.
Give Mario a chance. He wants to say something.
I'm sorry. Exactly. They are not. The guys who are making the decision don't know how business really works, and they don't know how sales works.
Yeah,
they're bean counters.
Yeah, they're engineers or finance guys that are controlling it from the distance, and they don't understand. Like Like, I mean, I wrote this article not long ago. It was like about how these first sales guys you bring in, you know, like again, my stuff is startups. The first sales guys you bring in, you want these guys to be your enlightened sales guys, the studs, the commandos, the guys taking the beach. Those guys cost more. They're taking more risk, and you're going to sell something that hasn't been sold before. Why would you pay that guy the same as you're going to pay your employee number 15, 16, 18, 17?
Second thing, one more thing that comes into picture is when the VPs or the CEOs or whoever sees the commission being paid to the sales guy, they just think he's a sales guy.
Yeah.
They don't realize that they are freaking eating because of that guy's work.
Yeah. They don't get it.
This whole concept of the capped commission is the biggest idiocy done by any startup or any company.
Yeah. I mean,
why do you want to cap the commissions?
Yeah. No, there's no salesperson should work on a capped plan, period.
Yeah.
There's no.
But you said everybody's got it. You said there's no escape.
That's not what I said. I said no, but everyone's got different clauses in their contract. I never said they all have a capped plan. But most contracts basically say the company can change the plan at will.
Yeah, and they do.
That's what bad managers do.
They do.
That's why most bad managers do that. And that's why they do.
So listen. So I talked to this lady once. She closed the OnStar deal for Motorola to GM. All right. It was a $1.8 billion deal. And this was like, 20 some odd years ago, right? When OnStar and it was like whatever it was, 20 in the late 90s, early 2000s. 1.8 billion. I mean, you should be able to retire and have a Cadillac every year for the rest of your life at that kind of commission. She was capped at $180,000 on a nearly $2 billion deal. She made not even 200 grand. Like, I mean, literally, she should have made like $100 million at least, And I'm like, and she stayed at this company. I'm like, how the hell did you stay at Motorola for this long? It turns out she was married to a Detroit Lions lineman, so she didn't care at the time. She didn't realize. I'm like, she literally could have enough money to buy the Lions at the time.
Okay, we got that story. I have a question, a practical question. I'm going to ask Stephen first, okay, if he's still listening. Okay, if you have a sales candidate, and that person is interested in the job, but says, I'm not taking it because they've got a sales cap, would you argue, just like Rich and Mario said, it's irrational, would you go back to your client and say, you are making a mistake? You don't understand how business runs. Would you do that, Stephen?
Well, the job of a recruitment consultant is to consult, so you got to push back sometimes and tell them a mistake is being made. They'll make their own decisions for their own business. If they say, well, that's what we do, then you have to ask, well, why is that the case? And is there a bigger picture that you should be looking at? But yeah, you should do that. But equally, if an employer says we only hire people with this contract, and we've had an experience in the past that dictates why we do the things that we do, then it's their privilege to do that, but they're going to miss out on good candidates.
Anybody else pressing back? Does anyone ever have a chance to change the company policy? I don't think so. That's not what I hear.
It happens. I mean, again, mine are smaller companies, but it happens. I mean, some companies, like my client right now, they're like, nope, we're going to pay these shitty commission plans out. That's what we're doing. Which actually I shouldn't say. They're actually talking to a guy for a final today, and they rewrote the plan for the guy. The plan still sucks, but they tried.
Hold on, but what we hear isn't it true that we hear from Rich all the time? These guys are so stupid. Okay, I don't hear you saying, you know what? These guys are so smart. They stretched to get this great candidate.
No, you know what they did? So they basically said the commission rate started at like 4%, which already is garbage, and for a young company. And so what they did was, all right, we'll give the guy, and it was started at 4%, 6%, 8%, pays for and then you get paid over the next, you get paid for year 2 and 3 in a deal. And then the quota was like $1 million. All right. So now they're like, all right, we're going to give you the same $150,000 salary. We're going to make your quota 2.75 million. But we'll give you 10% instead of 4%. So they basically increased everything 2.75%, 2.75 times. But now it makes this quota impossible to get to, and you'll never get to accelerators.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else comment? Anybody? Ernie, want to say anything? Anybody? No.
All I can say is, in my experience, that you can submit somebody. Your job is to get them to talk to them, and if they fall in love with them, they're willing to do things.
The honey trap.
Yeah, and if they really like him, they'll really try to get him.
Some will, some won't. What don't you see in this current market? The CEOs are like line in the sand. And if the VP of sales or the hiring manager doesn't want to put their neck on the line and say, this is the guy I want, come hell or high water, CEO is going to say no every time.
But going back to what they were saying about, can you change somebody's mind? A lot of that is a conversation you've had with the owners of the company, the executives, to actually know what state they're in economically, financially. And sometimes they'll tell you, we're in a tight spot and we can't do it. And other times you'll ask them, hey, so you're not making any money? And this guy can bring you a lot more. Yeah. And that kind of conversation is what you want to have with whoever.
Okay. My vote from listening to all of you is that there's almost no chance of getting a company to do what you think is smart in order to get a good candidate. Okay.
And that's because you're not sitting there at the table with them every day.
Exactly. And you're talking to a VP of sales or CRO, now you got to talk to HR, you got to talk to, it's like, I mean, getting them to change a comp plan is like an act of Congress. It's and you don't know what the other people are making, which could throw it all off. Which again, for sales guys should be immaterial, but
well, that's a little slightly different. You say, listen, I talked to 20 people already, and they're all earning more than you're offering, right? It's a little different to say, I'll change the salary.
Just wave goodbye to then.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're paying everybody 100,000, and this guy wants 120,
yeah,
you're going to get 20 people pissed off, and you got to raise your own salary, so it's going to cost you.
Okay, but Rich said walk away. That's what Rich said.
I mean,
from this candidate, he's not the right guy for you.
No.
That's what the market is.
But if everyone else is making more, like why do you want to work on a search paying the lowest common denominator?
I agree with you.
And these companies, it's like, all right, you're going to pay this guy more. Well, maybe he's better. Maybe the rest of your team sucks. Maybe you should increase your quality of your team and, pay a little bit more. I mean, sometimes these companies are underpaying the market and, they need someone to come in and shake things up a little bit. And quite frankly, it's no one's business what you're making, is it? They shouldn't be telling everyone. So,
or a lot of times they don't want to get rid of the underperformers either.
Because it makes them look good. Well, maybe if you got a bunch of C players and you're a B player, now you look like an A.
While I've got Stephen here, I just want to pit him against Rich. Okay. Rich is the master. Stephen, are you listening to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Rich is the master, although he'll deny it, of walk away. You just heard it, from unreasonable clients. Don't waste your time with people who aren't, gonna hire. At least they're giving cues. There's red flags. Are you also saying, one of the best things you could do for your business is walk away from people who don't seem to be great clients? Would you agree with Rich about that? Rich can edit what I said if he wants to. Okay.
Yes. And can I give you a very recent example?
Go ahead.
Of firing a client? No, it's not a recruitment client, but I had a sponsor for the Noras just 2 weeks ago. They were going to be the sponsor of the VIP lounge, and over weeks we had negotiated exactly what they would get for their deal and what the cost was going to be. I finally met him at a conference and we shook hands on the deal, and that was it. It was going to happen. Cut to 4 weeks before the event. And he sent an email to me saying, "Oh, I'd completely forgotten about this, and now we don't have enough time to get prepared for the event. I don't think we're going to be able to do it." So emails went back and forward, but it was very apparent very immediately that he wasn't going to be for talking around. So I barred him from the event. I told him to get lost. And,
but that's the opposite. He got rid of you. Okay. You didn't walk away from him.
No, but okay. If you like.
But no, you punished him for walking away.
I said,
you, buddy.
You're now no longer welcome. Don't even come as a guest.
Okay.
You can't come.
Probably the final question. Okay. Yes, for everybody.
I would say tell clients to get knotted if they're being unreasonable.
Okay. Oh, wide open. Okay. This guy said, if you've got two identical candidates and one works for a big brand, hire the other one. She's got the harder job. She works harder to be equal. Anybody want to take that on? don't hire from a big brand recruiter. Don't hire a big brand recruiter. They've got, they're sailing on the name. Anybody?
Recruiter? Who cares? No one cares about the company name. No one cares about the recruiting company.
The recruiters are
No,
relevant.
it's like that. No, whether they're talking about corporate recruiters when you're with, Amazon or Facebook or something, as opposed to no name company, a mid-level
working
company.
for me versus working for Amy at Amazon or Microsoft, wherever she's.
Amy sneered at.
Oh, now you're in trouble. Now you're in trouble.
Yeah, she's not here. Okay.
You haven't been here in a while. You gotta throw her in. Come on.
Yeah, I should invite her. She
Yeah,
likes to
suck her
come in and
back in.
fight. Although she's much more pugnacious than when she was always feisty. Now she's bitter. Okay. It's because she fights so much on LinkedIn every day, right? Okay. No. Would you, if you had two recruiters earning the same money, and these are corporate recruiters. Oh, see ya, Mario. If they're corporate recruiters and you had two of them earning the same money, one was for a big brand, one was for a company, a substantial company, but not one anyone really knew. Okay. I think it makes sense. Don't hire the big brand. That person has a name that's supporting them. Okay. Anybody else want to agree or disagree with me?
You have to look at what kind of support that position has. If they got the sourcers and they got this and they got that, then the person that you're hiring from the big company is used to staying in their lane. When you got a smaller company, they're used to doing anything and everything.
Okay, you mean whether they have a
trash.
lot of support staff? I've heard that about salespeople. Don't hire a rainmaker from a company where there's people doing everything for
Yeah,
him.
hiring a guy from Oracle is not going to succeed at or IBM. It's not going to succeed at a company, at a $5 million company, more often than not. They don't have, I mean, they're going to go off their network. They haven't cold called in forever. They're used to getting a meeting because they have a big name. They're not used to getting a meeting because, of their hard work.
And the culture of their company is to stay in their lane.
Yeah.
You start doing something else that someone else is doing, people get upset. So
Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by stay in your lane.
Well, this is your scope of responsibility. You can't go over here because you're going to piss off Peter. You can't go over here because you're going to piss off Mary,
Anybody? I didn't ask. We'll throw it open. Anybody got an issue they want to raise before the show's over? Or say, look, I've seen something this week and it really pissed me off, or I loved it. I thought it was a great idea. No,
Nothing.
I got lots of. Actually, you came late, Rich. But I've got some stuff where you actually have opinions. I'll just save it for another time. I
never knew Rich of having opinions.
Yeah. It was about guarantees. He was he said that he came out very clearly on that, but I'll talk about it next time. I want to thank tatech.org. Am I right about that? Stephen
Absolutely.
O'Donnell?
Yeah.
Yes. See, if you have a domain name that is easy, it's good. He could tell me at a party and I would remember it the next day. tatech.org.
And he do it in a monotone voice too.
Yeah. Okay. I believe if I would do better if I had a monotone voice. Nobody likes the way I talk. Foodindustryrecruiter.com. Raise your hand. Cornerstonesearch.com. Go to coldcallrecruiter.com and vote for cornerstonesearch.com. We'll do another plug for him next week. Thanks, everybody. I enjoyed having you here.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.